Thanks for watching. Before we continue, drag your mouse over to that red button that says subscribe and click. Hey everyone, this is Andrea at Soleil, and we are back with our podcast. If you haven't heard of us yet, we're the ones you go to when you want a private label. That means when you want to create your own personal care brand. We do everything from A to Z, so you don't have to worry about any of it. And today, we're actually going to talk about that very topic. What is private label? And we have Jen here today, my colleague at Soleil, and she has been with us for quite some time, so she is an expert, right? So we're going to kind of delve into it. But first, Jen, how long have you been with Soleil?
Wow. I've been with Soleil probably a little bit over 12 years now. It could even be close to 15.
Yeah, that's
what at some point.
That's what I was thinking. So pretty long time.
A very long time.
So you're very well versed in private labeling and what it's all about. So let's start off with the basics. What does it mean to private label?
Sure. So private label is pre-formulated products that are more cost effective, that allow the clients to brand their own product or products. So the formula itself is owned by the manufacturer. However, the client can take it and can now create their own brand.
Okay, so let's say I am an esthetician or a spa or just your average person wanting to create a brand. I would come to a private label company and choose from the products that they have already formulated and then basically slap my label on it.
Yeah, essentially it could be that simple. So there's, depending on where you go, there's a wide selection of private label products that are available, and depending on the story that you want to create or your marketing angle, you could choose the product. It might already be existing in certain packaging types. It might allot room for a label, or you could even just put your brand on it, a logo. So there's multiple options to be able to do private label.
Okay, and I've mentioned some people that this would apply to, or some industries, but who else would this apply to?
Oh, wow. Okay, so private label can work for so many people. So as you mentioned, estheticians, spas, salons, beauty boutiques, doctors' offices, online retailers, it can be anybody. So first and foremost, you have to have a drive to sell, right? So if you have a drive to sell and you want kind of like a little bit more of a minimal investment to start, private label is such a great way to go. Okay. And private label is incremental sales. So why not do private label?
Right. So let's talk a little bit more about this, because if I wake up one day, why would I say, hey, I'm going to create my own skincare line or hair care line or body care line? Why would I get into the whole process to begin with? What's the benefit?
Well, one, let's say you have a passion for skincare. Two, you see that other brands are selling. Why not sell your own? So there's such a huge opportunity to be able to sell others' brands, but to be able to sell your own brand. So if you have the passion and you have the drive for the business, private label is such a great opportunity and a great way to start. Again, a lot of times at smaller quantities to get into private labeling, and you could really build a business just in private label itself.
Yeah, I mean, we see a lot of our clients kind of start off in the service industry where they're offering treatments and different services, and then they need a way to expand their business and to create another avenue for revenue. So I guess that's where they would say, hey, let me create this online that I can then sell as a home care, post-treatment, or just another avenue of selling product. Because when we're in the service industry, we're one person. You can't give 10 facials at once. You're just one. Okay. So you need a separate outlet, a separate avenue of creating revenue.
Yeah. So if you think about it, let's say you're a doctor's office, and let's say you're dermatology, and you decide you want to you're doing hyaluronic treatments. But hey, why not have your client go home and use a hyaluronic cleanser, a hyaluronic moisturizer? So not only have you provided a service at the doctor's office, but now you go home and your client is using your product. So you've gained this customer loyalty. So they're using your services, whether you're a spa or a doctor's office or anywhere, they're using your services and now they're using your product, and you have more customer loyalty. They come back to you.
Right. What is the investment on a type of private label project? Like on average, I mean, we know what we do, but there are standards in the industry. So on average, how many units do I have to buy into of a certain product? What is my it's hard to say because it depends on the product, but what's my average spend? Like, what investment am I looking at here?
Yeah, so it really depends on who you're working with, but minimums for private label quantity-wise can start as low as 24 pieces per SKU. So you could literally say, I want to sell this moisturizer, and the MOQ is 24 pieces, and I literally just have to worry about doing my label. So purchasing the product, doing my label, and I am ready to go. I mean, it could be as simple as that.
Interesting. And how do you go about picking the right products for your brand? Like, we have hundreds of formulations that we offer for private label. It could get overwhelming. So how do I know what is the right product for me to start with?
Sure. Okay. So I'm going to go based off just some experience of being in the industry for so many years and my clients. So I have a lot of clients who will say either one, like, okay, I've heard these are like some top selling ingredients today, like retinol or vitamin C or hyaluronic or whatever the ingredient might be. And they might say, do you have products that are based around these ingredients? And yes, absolutely, we have those. Or perhaps I have clients who have entire stories with their companies based around something. It could be like probiotic or, and they come to us and they say, oh my gosh, you have probiotic products. Like, this is amazing. Or somebody who's more into like herbal things and they have CBD products and they want CBD. So really it's based around like, what is your company based around? Or what are your ultimate goals at the end of the day? Like, do you want to be, you want to get top selling type products? Do you have ingredient stories that you want to do? It's wherever you want to market your product.
And what do you think are important factors before someone even starts? Like, what do I need to have? You know, do I already need to have a brand name? Do I already need to have artwork? Like, can I start from scratch at nothing? Where do I need to be to even come to a private label company and say, hey, I want to start this line?
Sure. So the ideal is that you already have, you know, like a brand name, and perhaps you might already have a logo. Like, those are good places to start. You might not be there yet, and you might call and say, hey, I'm starting out and I'm kind of looking into it. And that's fine. Like, there's no, you know, it's never too early to research it. But if you already have a brand name in mind and you're kind of already established in that area, that's fantastic. But really, you can come in with, you don't have to have artwork ready. I mean, it could be as simple as, I just have this brand name, and we could go from there.
Right. Yeah. We've seen that a lot.
Absolutely.
How important is it to have, you know, like a passion for personal care products or skincare products, or a drive, or even a mission to your brand? How important are those things?
So it's very important, but I've actually seen some really, some very different angles. So I've seen people who have an incredible passion for skincare, who absolutely love it. And they're like, one day I want to own my own brand. And that's amazing. Then I've had people who come in a lot. I've had guys who are like, my wife loves skincare and I am going to create this brand.
And I know nothing about it.
I know nothing about it. I've had clients who, they're like, for my daughter, I have a daughter and I want to build this for her. And I'm like, that's great, you know?
Right.
So I've seen so many different angles. I've had some people who are salespeople, and they're like, I'm a salesperson. I kind of look at what's out there and I know this can do well, but I don't know anything about skincare.
Right.
So like, really, it's just where your ultimate goal is at the end of the day.
Right.
And you know, you just have to be a business person and like to sell.
Right. So, I mean, some people are marketing geniuses and they will know how to market anything. And the reason they come to private label is because the markups are really good. So let's get into that. What type of markups am I looking at? How do I know how to set my retail prices when I'm private labeling something? Talk to me a little more about that.
Yeah. So generally when you purchase private label, it's probably not, going to be told to you like, okay, this is where or this is where you should set your retails. So that's something that's really left to the client to determine, because different industries have different points that you're doing. Some are at a 50% margin, some are at a 30%, some are at a 60%. So really you can take a private label product and you can make it what you want to be. You can have this great, fantastic formula inside this packaging, and you can create a label that just screams, I'm exceptional, and you could go for a margin that you need for your market, essentially. So most of the time, you really have the flexibility to take this product that's inside this packaging and make it to what you want it to retail for.
Right. I mean, it's pretty important to know your demographic, right? Because you can have a product and market it at, price it at this astronomical price, and it's not going to speak to anyone that you're selling to because they wouldn't ever purchase a product at that price point, even though the product is phenomenal.
Absolutely. So definitely do your research. Marketing is incredibly important. Knowing your demographic is incredibly important. If you are on, I'm just going to use online, for example, if you're on a portal and you notice that the majority of your customers are 25 to 35 and, whatever it may be, try to target what would work for that demographic that you're working with. So it's always important to do that research ahead of time.
Yeah.
And try to know that to the best of your ability. But here's actually something really cool about private label. So private label is a little bit less of an investment to start with. So there is some investment, but you could do a little bit of trial and error. You might not know exactly what is going to work for you, but you could say, okay, let me try X, Y, and Z, and maybe X didn't work for you, but Y and Z did. You could go that way. So there is flexibility to kind of do some trying and seeing what works for you and then taking off with what works for you.
Right. Because when you're starting off with lower minimums, if it doesn't fly off the shelf or sell like crazy, then you say, okay, I bought into 24 pieces or 50 pieces or 100 pieces. It didn't go well. I'm going to move on to a different product that might do better. So you have some testing grounds.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is very cool. And then once you know that, okay, this is working great, then you make your investment and you get larger quantity and you invest more into that product.
Yeah, and you can add to your product line. So you have the ability to, go from, you could say, okay, I want to see how this private label company works and I want to try the process. And then once you know and you're familiar with the process, you can expand from there. So there's so much flexibility with how to start and how to keep going with it.
Right. Tell me, how important is packaging?
So packaging is very important, but in my mind, and just having done this for so many years, it's really what's on your packaging that's going to sell a product. So you can have a basic white packaging, but it's actually what you put on the actual packaging. Let's say you're doing it by label. So it could be your description, it could be your name. A lot of it has to do with your image, but it goes a little further than just the packaging. It's what you put on that packaging as well. But packaging definitely has to be great, and you just want it to be durable too.
Right, yes, that's true.
First and foremost.
It has to withstand shipping, it has to stay on the shelf well.
Yeah, but a lot of it has to do with label and what you put on content.
Content, right.
And then how you market it.
Yeah, so I guess the first questions that one should ask themselves before starting a brand is, who am I? What am I trying to do? Who am I appealing to? Who do I want to impress and entice with this product? And that has to kind of, yell out or speak out right when somebody sees your label, when somebody sees your product, because they're not trying it first, they're just seeing it first.
Yeah, definitely. You want to do no matter what, you always kind of want to have a business plan. So in that business plan, you kind of want to get all those details out ahead of time. You might veer off that business plan by the time you're done 100%. But as long as you have a business plan done, it might be 5 minutes in bed before you go to sleep and you say, I have this idea and this is my plan. Whatever it is, you should have a plan to start out with. So at least you have a little bit of a guideline when you start. And you kind of hone yourself in a little bit as well that way. And also try to have a budget. I know this is slightly off the topic, but in mind, have a slight budget. Now, be a little flexible because you might have to learn a little bit about what is entailed. But if you have a budget in mind, you kind of know where your flexibility is.
So no, I mean, I think it's important to note, you know, in your plan, a budget should definitely be something that you have in mind, because then you're not kind of shooting in the dark. You're going in with some structure. And like you said, it's okay if you veer off a little bit, but you need some understanding of how much am I willing to invest from the start to get this going.
Absolutely.
What other types of things should you have in your plan?
Yeah. And you should, the ultimate goal is, even if you you have a starting point and you want to make money, let's say you make money off that starting point, it'll afford you to move to the next step or to expand. So ultimately, your ultimate goal when you do this is to make money. And when you make money, you have the ability to grow. So ultimately you can grow.
How important is it to have a partner in this? Can people just do this on their own? Do they need help? Do they need outside help? Is it manageable to start just one person by yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. I have so many people that are just individuals who started they're starting their own company. It's one person. Then I have, you know, teams and companies, and some people might even bring in marketing experts. Some really just do it on their own. It's really how much can you handle and how much do you want to handle? And you really can do it on your own. However, some people want a team behind them, and whatever works for them.
So let's go through the different aspects of a private label project that one would have to consider, because it's not just the product. There are different things. Like you said, there's the packaging, there's the design, there are all these different steps. So walk me through that process. What are the steps?
Okay, so first and foremost, you find a company that you're comfortable with and you want to work with. You contact that company. Some people will contact and they'll say, you know, I'm not sure where I want to start. What kind of products do you have? So you can simply start there. Or you come in with the vision that I'm looking for these types of products. So know that from the start. First step is sampling the product that you would like to try. You got to know that you like this product, use it, test it, make sure you love this product. So
you got to like what you sell.
Got to like what you sell. So once you're ready with the product, you decided this is the product I want to do. The next step, you have to determine, again, if you have packaging options available to you, what type of packaging do you want to do? Do you have a graphic designer behind you, or do you need some assistance or services there? Do you have the logo? Do you have to kind of go step by step until you get this product created. And it's really simple to do that. You just kind of have the product you like, and the company will work with you. They'll go step by step and they'll ask you questions until they figure out exactly what you need. And then last but not least, you get that product quote. It never hurts to get a product quote, right? So like, what do you have to lose? Find the product you like and play with it. Get a quote and see if it works for you. Ultimately, most likely will work for you, and you'll go from there. And then after that process, let's say I've chosen my products, I've chosen my packaging, I've done my design, or I've employed the company to do the design for me. Prices look good. I move forward with an order. Obviously, every company is different, but what kind of time frame on average am I looking at till the product is done, complete, ready to go? Sure. Okay. So ultimately, everything for that order should be in-house. So let's say you have a label that's being sent from a third-party label company or something like that. All of those components should be in-house. From the time that everything is in-house, the order has been placed, you're really looking at about probably 3 to 5 weeks. So the reason being is, as soon as everything is in-house, it goes on to a production schedule. Now, keep in mind that production schedule has already kind of been built out for a little bit. So you're going to get on that production schedule. The product is going to get made. Once it gets made, it's going to go for some testing. So it's going to ensure that they're not seeing any bacterial growth or anything like that. Once that testing comes back, they can go ahead and let's say you're having it filled in the packaging. Then that filled packaging also goes into some testing. And once that testing is complete, it's going to get signed off and your product is ready. So just know the reason why there's that little bit of lead time is because there is some testing involved too.
Right, that's true. And you have to get onto the production schedule, which doesn't mean you're first in line. There might be a few people before you.
Exactly.
So you got to wait it out. Very cool. All right, so product's done, testing's been done, everything looks good. It's packed in boxes. What do I do now?
Okay.
Where does it go? What do I do?
Yeah.
Walk me through that.
I mean, it really depends on what you're doing with the product.
Right.
So when the product is ready, you're going to arrange the pickup for this product. And then really it's up to you, right? You're going to have your marketing plan. You're going to sell this product. So we expect to see this product in doctor's offices, beauty boutiques, spas, salons, retail, whatever it is. Sell the product. Okay, so the next step, you're selling the product and you're saying, wow, this one is doing fantastic. Well, that's the time, guys, to start doing your projections, because as soon as you know a product is working for you, you don't want to be out of stock, right? So there's like a lot more to it. So once you've actually gone to selling your product, kind of be on top of the projections. How is it selling? And be on top of the ordering the next batch.
Right. And the hope is that, you know, if you're ahead of time with your projections, then reorders are a little bit faster than the initial order because you don't have that setup time of picking your packaging, figuring out your label. Everything's already set up, so it's just go.
Yeah, exactly. Everything is going to be a little bit quicker at that point. Like you said, you might even already have labels that are already ready to go for your next batch. Get that order placed, get the product flowing, and keep your orders going. So most important, once you gain that momentum with the private label product, you got to keep the flow going and just get the word out there.
Yeah. All right. Tell me, what should I be looking for in the company that I choose to private label? What are things that are important to consider?
So I'm just going to go based off of what I would look for. So if I'm working for looking for a company, I would want transparency. I'd basically want to know what I'm going to expect in the process. I want somebody who I feel I can trust. And I want somebody who gives me feedback, who will walk me through the process and who I feel is there for me. So I would want somebody who I feel, or a manufacturing company that I feel is truly a partner. So I don't want to just be another number. I want to be a client with a name that produces my product and that I'm proud to have as a partner in the project. So when you find the company that you want to work with, make sure you're comfortable with them, you trust them, and they're your partners until the end.
Yeah, you got to have a good feeling in any business decision.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. Are there any certifications you should be looking for?
So certifications really depends on what your ultimate goal is. So let's say you would like to have certified organic product as part of your private label line. That is totally possible. However, you're going to have to go through the certification process to be able to put your brand name on that product. And the reason why is the certifier needs to know that this brand name is affiliated with this certified organic product. It's good for your customers. It's good for you. Everyone knows that is legitimately certified organic product. So certification really depends on what your ultimate goals are. If you would like to have certified organic product, you're going to get the certification. If you would like to have whatever, you would like to have as a certification, it's really your marketing goal.
There are many, right? The organic, the natural products association, the vegan certified, non-GMO certified. I mean, the list goes on. There's plenty.
Yeah. Whatever you want to use as your marketing tool. I would say, find out about it, see if it works with the product, see if it's feasible for you, and go for it.
And what speaks to your target demographic? What are they going to appreciate?
Yeah.
Why can't I just transfer a USDA logo that a private label company has on their product to my label? Why isn't it that simple?
Okay, so let's say you come out with this brand name and you put it on this supposed certified organic product. Well, somebody goes to look up with the certifier if that brand is legitimately certified.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? They're not going to find you. And you know what that means? You are not technically certified.
Right.
So in order to be legitimate and in order to comply with the regulations out there, there are regulations for product.
Right.
In order to comply and in order to make your clients comfortable knowing you are complying, you're going to have that certification because that certification is going to go back to your brand. Your brand is certified.
Right.
So it's important to have the certification.
It's your brand name is its own entity and it needs to be certified in and of itself, regardless of what the company has done to the product before.
Absolutely, because no one really knows the company that's behind the scenes.
Right.
The company that's producing the certified organic product is entirely behind the scenes.
Right.
The only thing they know is that brand name and the company name that is on that packaging.
Right.
So they don't know who's behind the scenes. So technically, even though the company, for example, ourselves, we're a certified organic facility and we have the certified organic product, they don't know us. Right? And they shouldn't.
Right.
They know you and they know your brand.
Our goal is to be invisible to your end consumer.
Exactly.
Right,
so
right.
the goal is that your clients have the comfort of knowing that this product is certified organic and your brand name is the one that's certified.
Okay, very good. Let's get into a little bit of the nitty gritty details because this question comes up a lot and is bubbling in my brain. What is the difference between private labeling a regular moisturizer and let's say an SPF? I'll give you the most complicated one.
So it is the most complicated, but I'm going to just give the most brief explanation of this. Mm-hmm. So a regular moisturizer that does not have active ingredients is considered a regular cosmetic product. It is conventional. It's considered cosmetic. Every product out there is technically looked at by the FDA, but it's different in terms of regulation, right? So let's now skip to SPF product. SPF product has active ingredients, right? SPF product is highly regulated by the FDA. It's an entirely different process. So FDA regulated product, anything that has active ingredients, it has to go through specific testing. Everything has to be documented a certain way. There has to be FDA registration. So your company has to be FDA registered to have those types of products. And that's the main difference of a conventional cosmetic product, such as a moisturizer, a cleanser, a toner, something that doesn't have active ingredients versus like an SPF or even, I don't know, let's say an acne product.
Right.
So acne product has active ingredients, right? Because you're using the word acne and FDA, they're one and one.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So like you have to be registered.
Yeah. If you say acne or a number of different words, they're going to be all over your backs.
Oh, completely. So you just need to know the difference. And also, some people start out with the conventional cosmetic product because OTC product might be your goal and it might be what you do. So if you're a doctor's office, you might go straight for OTC, over-the-counter drug products,
right.
FDA regulated products, or that just might be your goal. You might be needing that, and that's fine. And companies can walk you through the whole process. It's not bad, guys. It's okay. It's just a different process than conventional standard cosmetic product.
Right. And a little more costly.
It is a little more costly. It's a little more of an investment to do OTC, over-the-counter, SPF type acne products.
Right. And that's because there's more testing involved in that process as well, plus the FDA registration process. You have to actually get registered.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So depending on who you are, you may go the pure cosmetic route, you might go the OTC route, and then obviously your business plan would have to adjust accordingly, because if you have a business plan of a cosmetic product, but you're really looking for like an acne or a brightening or an SPF product, you might be off there.
Oh, completely. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's why the companies are there to put you in the right direction.
Right.
So usually we'll find out right away. We'll see like what direction you're leaning into, and we'll put you in the right direction and say, okay, listen, if you want to go this direction, just know there's more testing involved to do this type of product. There's FDA regulation. So you'll have, direction in what you want to do. But yeah, no, in your marketing plan and in your business plan, those are some things to think about. Are you doing cosmetic, or are you doing over-the-counter drug, very highly regulated FDA products?
Right. And from your experience, I mean, you've seen, I don't even know how many clients create their own brands. What is like a recipe for success? Is it the number of SKUs I start with? Is it my marketing? Like, how can I set myself up for the best success possible?
Oh, wow. I've seen success come in so many variations. I've seen success come from passion. So somebody who absolutely loves skincare and loves to talk about it and they sell it. And I see success come from marketing. Marketing is so important when it comes to skincare. And I've seen success come from just an existing platform. So somebody who already has a platform and sells product. I've seen success come from so many variations. I think most importantly, if you believe in what you're doing, and I love that about so many people, they believe in it. They believe I can do this. They become incredibly successful because they keep going and they don't stop until they really make it happen. So it's the passion, it's the drive that really makes a product successful, and then learning all the way down the line. So you might see that you need to fix this, or you might need to hone in here, or this might not be working for you. And you have to kind of get yourself in line and be ready for everything. Be ready for, some downtime, some uptime, and push it.
Right. I mean, I guess what you really need to do is listen to your customers and see what's working and what's not working, and then act quickly.
So that's the best advice, actually, is listening to your customers. I think that's actually probably one of the best things. You will hear what they're saying. You will know what they're looking for. Really work on what your customers want.
Right. Well, we've spoken about all the pros of private labeling and how it can help your business grow. How can it increase your revenue? Do you know of, or can you think of any cons of why someone shouldn't go into private labeling?
So I wouldn't say necessarily that there are cons as to why you shouldn't go into private labeling. Private labeling is a great way to start. I really I don't find anything negative necessarily in private labeling. I think you can take it and you can make it your own. So I can't really find cons in that. Now, taking it another direction though, some things to keep in mind when private labeling. So there's a lot of pros to private labeling, but some things that you really have to know. Again, we talked about like projections and things you can do to keep the process running smoothly with private labeling. But I can't necessarily think of the cons.
I tried to think about some because I was like, it's only fair if I ask you this question if I actually have an answer. The one thing I thought of is that, and this would be the case in any business, it's always a risk. Any business decision you make, any investment you make, any new journey you try to embark on, you have a risk. But if you set yourself up for success with all the things that we've been talking about, you know your target demographic, you know who you're marketing to, you have a good marketing strategy in place, you're organized, you vetted out your company, the private label company, you do all these steps beforehand, then you've minimized your chance of risk. And then you're as safe as can be in any business decision.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. The biggest risk is risk, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But you have to start somewhere.
Right.
So you don't know until you try. And there's the risk of any business. There's a risk of doing business, but you can really make it work. It's a little bit of it's not as crazy of an investment as some other things out there. You can ebb and flow and change and make it your own. And I don't see why not. But it's really, it's business.
Definitely. There was one other thing I wanted to ask. I mean, if I'm an esthetician, right, and I've been selling product from a brand, let's say, I've been wholesaling product and selling this branded product really, really well, and my customers keep coming back and asking me for it, where is my incentive? Why would I decide, hey, let me switch to a product that I have my own name on it? Like, why would I do that?
Sure. Oh, there are so many reasons for that too. Okay, so you can create your own brand. So you know that they're coming in and they're buying this product that is working, and it's somebody else's brand. Why not make it your own brand? So it's an identity. You're building an identity. You're building a brand. You're building something that is your own. You have flexibility with where you want to market it, with your profit margin.
Right.
You have so much advantage to selling your own line. You're creating something where they follow you.
Right.
So you can get that product, somebody else's product, somewhere else. Mm-hmm. But your product and your brand is yours, and you're in control of it.
Right.
So there's so many advantages to doing your own brand.
Yeah. I mean, you brought up a really good point, because something that we see a lot, which is kind of sad for our clients, when they are selling a branded product and, they buy it at the wholesale price, which is dictated by the brand company, and then they have to sell it at a certain MSRP, which is again dictated by the company. And then they see that this company is selling their brand on Amazon for less than the MSRP, or even, the same. They're now competing with the brand. And so why would the client not go on Amazon and purchase it on Amazon when it's so much more convenient? Why would they keep coming back to you? Sure. Whereas if you private label, your wholesale cost is a lot lower. You dictate your own MSRP, like you said. You're promoting and marketing your own brand identity, services, whatever that is. And you don't have competition, because the only place they could find your product is by you. And on Amazon, if you are the one selling it on Amazon. So you're not out there competing with the company itself that you're supposed to be making money off of.
Completely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Jen, for all your expertise. You've given us a lot of good private labeling information. One more question.
Okay.
Maybe two. Hold on. What is your craziest project you've ever worked on within private labeling, or some crazy fun horror story?
Oh my gosh, crazy fun horror story. Wow. Okay, that's a really
it's a hard one, I know.
That's a really hard one. And it would be, I'd have to probably go way back to think about like some horror stories. I've had some clients before who have literally, they're like 3/4 the way through and they've had their labels done, and all of a sudden they come back and they're like, wait, we've changed our mind and we want to do this way. And we're like, guys, okay. So I've had clients who've like changed last minute, and we've had to just like redo everything, and they're willing to take on that extra investment because they want to make the change. But, so some crazy timelines and things like that. But I wouldn't say necessarily absolutely crazy horror stories, because the formulas exist. Right. The packaging pretty much exists. Right. So it's not like creating something from scratch that hasn't existed and it's gone sideways. Right. So it's not terrible by any means. I don't think I've seen like the absolute horror stories with private
the hard
label.
ones are like, hi, I need this and I need it done tomorrow, and it's today, and just please do it tomorrow. And we're like, oh, okay.
Okay, timing. Yes, timing respectfully. Certain things just take a certain amount of time. Right. You have to maybe put that label together. You have to get that label printed. Right. You have to go on the production schedule. You have to get produced, and you have to get tested. Right. So that actually, like if you just know the timing, it's so much easier. Like I wish we could at the snap of our fingers say, here's the product, like you came today and I have the product done at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. But it's a little more customized. Private label is a little more customized to your needs. Right. So it's just not a same day process.
Yeah. Well, I've had scenarios where everything is getting done. The product is chosen, the packaging is chosen, the labels are designed, they're printed. Now comes time for everything to come together, and the labels are the wrong size, or they don't apply to the packaging well because the proper testing wasn't done beforehand. So we are advocates of, let's sample, let's try the label, let's make sure everything is perfect so that when it comes to production time, it's smooth sailing rather than dealing with those problems later on.
Sure.
That's very important.
Yeah, of course, things can happen. The goal is to have a process that eliminates that as much as possible. Right. But everyone's human, and things can happen. Right. So it could be an adhesive on a label. Right. It could be, any of those circumstances. And we ebb and we flow, and our clients just ebb and flow. And we, at the end of the day, our ultimate goal is the same goal as the client's ultimate goal.
Right.
We all want to have good product. So yeah, there's the ups and downs of just any type of, process when you're putting things together.
Right.
There could be anything, but our goal is to eliminate it.
Yeah, and like you said, I think the most important thing when you're choosing a private label company is to find someone who's going to partner with you, so that when these things do happen, you have someone to turn to and say, hey, how do we get out of this situation? What can we do? And you're going to have a helping hand to guide you out of that situation.
Oh, yeah. The goal is not to say, okay, hey, this happened, here you go.
Right.
The goal is to be like, okay, so this happened. Let's think. These are solutions to work through this, and let's get to that finished product. So at the end of the day, we're all going to work to getting that finished product. So maybe, those might be some horror stories.
Yeah.
But it doesn't happen very often, but you just got to know how to work through anything that happens in life, you know, and that's what we do.
What is your favorite private label product?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I have a lot of favorite private label products.
Okay.
So I don't know if I can necessarily go down to one. I love hyaluronic product. I know you guys have discussed that previously.
Yeah, we're big fans.
Yeah, big fan of hyaluronic, big fan of peptide products.
Yeah.
So, well, of course, peptides are great, guys.
Yeah.
So I love peptide products. I can't even single out. That's not fair.
I know.
They're all my babies and I love them all.
I know. We get attached to our products.
I love them all.
Yeah, they're good.
They wouldn't be there if they're not good.
That's true.
So I don't know.
Another question just popped up. How do I differentiate myself from all the other brands out there?
In terms of your branding aspect?
Yep.
I mean, that's part of the game, guys.
Yep.
So in terms of differentiating yourself, what does make you different from that other brand out there? So it's knowing how to market your product and market yourself. It might be, I have product that contains the ingredients out there that everyone's looking for. It might be that I have this unique logo, this name, who I am. I mean, there's so many things that could differentiate you from the product that's out there. What's going to differentiate you, though, is really how you're marketing yourself and that product.
Right. Your image.
Yeah, we can, or companies can provide the product.
Right.
But at that point, it takes the work to differentiate you from that other product. You need good product, right? That you're first and foremost, you differentiate yourself because you don't know what other people have. They might have great product too, but you're starting with good product.
Right.
Take it from there.
Right. That's true. Well, I've pretty much squeezed out all the questions I could possibly think to ask you, I could possibly think our listeners would want to ask you. However, guys, if you have more questions for Jen about private labeling, about the process, about how to be successful, the ins and the outs, please feel free to send us your questions, comment. We'll definitely get them answered for you. And thank you, Jen, for helping us. And I want to thank our behind the scenes man who makes this all possible, Dario. Give a shout out.
Thanks, Daria.
He's been the brains and the operations and the pretty much everything behind these podcasts. So we want to thank you. Dario, what's your favorite thing about private labeling?
Just branding.
Branding. You're a branding guy. Yeah.
Branding, marketing. He's
Branding,
that guy.
marketing. He's that guy. He's that guy. He's our podcast guy.
Everything.
Everything. All right, guys. Thank you so much. We hope to see your comments come in, have your questions come in. We'll get those answered for you. And thank you for listening.
Thank you, guys.